Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Gators Basketball with Todd Golden, presented by UFL. With head coach Todd Golden, I'm Sean Kelley. And as we visit this week, the Gators are now 24-6, winners of the SEC with a record of 15-2, with still one game to go in the conference. Coach, congratulations on winning the SEC championship. You used the 2 games of the homestand to grab a share of it and then have it outright with that win here to conclude the home schedule.
Yeah, we're obviously thrilled. We're really proud of the accomplishment, of the outright championship. And as you said, last Saturday night, playing Arkansas with a chance to get a share, which was a huge moment, a huge opportunity. Would have been the first championship since 2014, and we were well aware of that. And I was just really pleased with the way our guys came out from start to finish in that Arkansas game, never leaving it up to concern, really playing a very solid first half, and then obviously winning going away by 34 points.
And Coach, most recently, your 100th win as the head coach of the Gators. Those are 2 big things in a span of about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it was a pretty great week, all things considered. Just going back to the Mississippi State game, kind of a slow start, but our guys, again, even with Tommy, not being out there, did a great job banding together and playing some great basketball. And I do believe, last week really encapsulated the way we played all year. Just playing together, playing with great physicality, and just really setting the tone both on the inside and the perimeter of what kind of game we were going to play. And this team played well enough all year to earn this outright championship.
If you're thinking about the teams that you've coached, whether prior to Florida or since you've arrived here in Gainesville, what's been uniquely joyful about this group? A group that started the season 5-4 against a challenging schedule and now finds themselves as a conference champion.
Well, this team has done a great job of growing over the course of the year. Usually at the beginning of the year, you have a really good understanding of where your team is and kind of how they're going to finish. Well, this team obviously had some ups and downs early on, but did a great job staying together and never pointed fingers through those early season struggles. Just kept getting back together and working to improve and try to right our wrongs. And obviously, with the way we played in conference, they've done a great job with that. So I do believe really the growth that this team has displayed over the season is something that I'm really proud of.
The Gators have won 10 in a row now currently, and 15 of their last 16. Florida has not lost since late in January. And, Coach, during this 10-game win streak, the average margin of victory is a tick over 23, so plus 23 in the last 10 games. Does that mean that you guys are doing everything right?
Well, it's a gaudy number, I'll say that. I'm really impressed and really hard to do in the best conference in America. But, we do feel like there's always something more. After every game, when we go back and look, we haven't played any perfect games. We've obviously played very well. But generally, whether it's, the rebounding or the defense or maybe the offense, there's an area in those specific, verticals that we can improve upon and that we focus before we get to that next game.
Coach, not to throw water on some of the early numbers, but the Gators were dominating the glass and leading the country in several of the different rebounding categories. Some of it, if we're being honest, had to be with maybe a lower shooting percentage than you would have liked. Now your team is shooting very well, but yet the rebounding numbers have stayed. How does that happen?
Well, I think, again, comfort and understanding, simply something as simple as all 4 of the guys on the floor that aren't shooting the ball know that it's going up, and then we're able to get in better rebounding position. Early on in the year, as we're still trying to figure each other out, there were some surprise shots that showed up, but now with the continuity and the togetherness, I do feel like we're very well connected on both sides of the ball. Offensively, Boog's done a great job managing the game and putting guys in the right spots. Lee has obviously been fantastic over the last month, playing with great confidence and the explosiveness that we expected when he arrived in Gainesville, and our front court has continued to be more efficient. But all those guys, along with our 3 bench players that are in the rotation, are very well connected and on the same page.
Coach, in a lot of ways in watching your recent games, I find the opponent begging for a playoff, and the Gators will not give them one. When you've had the success that you've had here over the course of late January through February, now into March, human nature would tell you we're good, we can take a playoff, but yet this team doesn't. How have they been able to overcome that temptation?
We talk a lot about our mindset and making sure that we're not satisfied, regardless of whether we have a lead at halftime or not. We're still playing the second half like it's 0-0 going out there. And, I do believe that's our strength, our competitiveness. You look at Kondo, Ruben, Tommy, those guys are champions. They understand what it means to compete. And I do believe there's been a trickle-down effect from those guys, along with Micah, to the new players and the freshmen, that we have a really high standard. And even when we're winning, we're not going to be satisfied with how we're playing.
Let's drill down on some of the individuals. Alex Condon's on a great tear right now, 5-game pace at 20-plus points per ball game. Coach, his game has changed a little bit here for the good, more like a little bit of what we anticipated with Alex Condon. What did he do? Where was the turnaround for him to kind of get his trajectory back going into the right direction?
Well, I think when you come into the season with all the expectations on your shoulders, it can be a bumpy ride at times, especially when it's not going as well as expected. But the area that Kondo has done a great job of, especially over these last couple of weeks, is just playing hard, not worrying about his shooting, not worrying about stats, just going into the paint, playing with great physicality, with force, his athleticism showing up, and he's just been relentless. He's done an incredible job, especially over these last couple of weeks on the offensive end, taking care of the basketball, finding the right shots, playing with great touch around the rim, and he's playing like a first-team All-American right now.
And it's not like it was bad prior to that.
No.
It's just been extra special. It's a guy that also now has more than 100 assists on the season, too. So there's more than just the scoring that I brought up. The guards, Coach Davian Lee, Boogie Fland, Urban Klavjar, their impact, obvious on the box score, but what else about their play has helped your team keep this thing going?
Well, all three of those guys are playing with great confidence right now, and they've been a great three-headed monster in the backcourt for us, and each of them gives you something a little different. Obviously, Boogie's the point guard, runs the team a great on-ball defender. X Lee has been fantastic being that kind of off-ball playmaker, whether it's his scoring or his playmaking. Over the last month and a half, it's both shown up. And Irby comes in as a spark plug. He's going to come in, he's going to let the ball fly, takes and makes really tough shots, but it's given us a double-figure score off the bench. And, those guys settling in, kind of finding their footing, has really allowed our team to take off.
And Ruben Chinyulu's numbers continue to stay exactly where they've been. Double-double machine, despite teams trying everything in the book and out of the book to stop him. That's a mental challenge in itself, Coach.
Absolutely. He's had to deal with, being a guy that has to play through whistles and understanding that he's a tough guy to officiate because he plays with such physicality and force. And, as you said, when he's out there and he's not in foul trouble, we know the rebounding numbers are going to show up. We know the points are going to show up at this point. He's that consistent. I think it was his 16th double-double or maybe his 18th double-double of the year in that last game, something that obviously we're not taking for granted, but we're really, really happy to have.
Just to be exact, it was his 18th, and you guys are undefeated when he has a double-double. It's interesting, Thomas Houck had a streak of 105 straight games played come to an end the other night. Gators did not see Houck dressed and ready to play in the home finale against Mississippi State. Coach, what is the latest on Thomas Houck, just so everybody has a clear mind with regard to him, your leading scorer, moving forward?
Well, we never want to take anything for granted, but after, getting a share of the title on Saturday night, we feel like we have a lot to play for in the postseason as well, and we want to make sure that all of our guys are healthy. We knock on wood, we've been very healthy this year. You go back to last year, Elijah missed games, Kondo missed games, Walt even missed a game. And so going into this week, we thought it was best for Tommy to get rested and make sure he's ready for the postseason. I would expect to see him on Saturday at Rupp and definitely the following week in the conference tournament.
Speaking of Rupp, up next with Todd Golden, presented by UF Health. That final regular season game will be Senior Day at Kentucky. And other than the Gators having already grabbed the regular season championship, there is so much up for grabs with regard to the rest of the seeding and the standings in the SEC. Oh, by the way, it's Florida, Kentucky as well. A snapshot, if you will, as to what the Gators are up against Saturday, based on the fact that you've already played them once at home.
Well, as we had talked about, they're a very talented team. Struggled a little bit of late, lost a tough game at A&M, but we know, that their seven's really talented, and it's a huge game for them. They're still playing for a lot in terms of conference tournament seeding. As of this morning, they could finish anywhere from 4th with a win to 10th with a loss. We're still playing for a lot. We want to be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. We're playing. We've put ourselves back in that position where we're competing with UConn and some of these other teams for that opportunity. So we're still playing, for a lot of different things. And transparently, we want to make it tough on Kentucky. We'd love to make it so where they have to get to Nashville a little early next week.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Coach, you said in our post-game visit after the Mississippi State game, publicly out loud for the first time, that you want that 1 seed. You just reiterated that. Part of me says, what's the difference, 1 versus 2? Why are you saying out loud now, trying to speak us toward, I guess, a 1 seed in the tournament?
Well, I'm not sure how much different a 1 or a 2 seed would be in that last region. I think Arizona, I think Michigan and Duke have all kind of solidified themselves with their profiles and their resumes to be 1 seeds. But that last 1 seed is up for grabs. And over the last couple months, I do believe we firmly put ourselves in position to be thought of in that department. I think we have the 4th most quad 1 wins in America right now. We've obviously been playing some great ball over the last 2 months, and it would just be a great honor. I don't think Florida has been back-to-back 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament, so that would be a nice little feather to put in our cap. And again, we're striving to be the best team we can be, and that's a target for us.
One thing I've learned about you is when there is a championship opportunity in front of you, you want to take it. The next one will be the SEC tournament, the tournament that you won last year. And then, of course, the NCAA tournament would follow that as the defending national champ. I guess what I'm getting at here is, Coach, you just have immediate experience with achieving those two things. How will that serve you in guiding this team now through that same run?
Well, you said it. We have a great opportunity next week in Nashville. We're going to be going in as the 1 seed, so we'll be playing early on Friday. When you get yourself that double bye, it definitely gives you a much better chance of advancing and playing for the title on Sunday. And, this team has already accomplished a lot with the regular season crown, but we want it all. We want to go there and get an SEC tournament championship, and we feel like if we play well there, it'll set us up well to play in the NCAA tournament.
Here's to it continuing to roll well.
Thanks, Sean.
Go Gators. I'm Sean Kelley. That'll do it for us. We'll see you next time, and enjoy the postseason.